Culinary players aiming coach right. Master recipes under stove lights.
So, I got to cut that short because the YouTube, if you don't use their avenues, you can't even post them little snippets. So, hopefully, that was short enough. I am Sade of Tuition Chat, okay? And so, we're going to get into fly spirit. What is that? How to identify it, how to maneuver with that energy, okay? So it is here on 2023-0818 at approximately 0802 on the east coast of the United States of America. On planet Earth, okay? We're here on planet Earth. So, fly spirit is the energy of someone overlooking or prying into your internal affairs. What you doing, how you make money, where you going, who you're associated with. That is the energy of the fly spirit. And so the fly spirit can show up just randomly. Like literally, you could be in a place that nothing is really going to bring in a fly. Now, mind you, they are attracted to like everything, any little thing. However, it could be a scenario where it doesn't make sense for a fly to just be there at that time, because maybe it's something like you could be doing something, you could be inventing something and creating something, and it's like, why is this fly showing up and it's hovering around me? Flies are supposed to be, finding food and other things it needs for its survival. But when it's coming around a human being and being attracted to what's going on in that space and time, that is showing you the fly spirit, okay? So that is a energy showing up that someone is nosy around you. It also can be like envy and jealousy, because why are you prying into another person's intimate affairs? Why do you need to know? If you're focused on yourself, then you don't have time and energy to be focused on another, okay? So I wrote some notes here. So, fly spirit, overlooking and prying into your affairs. Keep them out of your divine bedroom and wherever that is, because that's your intimacy. Into me I see, okay? I don't know where we got this notion that I'm going to share with my homegirls or the guys. I'm going to share with my guys about my intimate affairs, but it happens, and we got to stop because of the energy and jealousy that can come with it. Because when you're happy and shining bright and your light is attracted, all the things that you wish for and more multiplied, okay, it can become frustrating for an individual that isn't receiving those things because they have not set with themselves to generate their light, okay? It's like a generator. You have to, it's like a generator that you rev, okay? And how you rev that generator, your light, is to sit in solace sometimes. Get to your center, speak to your guides as well as the Most High. That's the most important, okay? Building and maneuvering with a connection to the Most High. It is a daily, constant process. It is a relationship. You are here for a divine purpose. So why, when you speak to the divine, it just makes no sense. Why would you avoid exalting, praising, expressing through that love, through that non-judgment, through that acceptance, through that power? Now, mind you, the Most High is everything and more. So there is the other side of, force or power or loud, seemingly destruction, but it's destruction to build something, okay? And that's like representative of the tower in the tarot deck. The tower is like a castle or structure that was built on something that it shouldn't have been built on. So lightning comes down and strikes. Okay? Lightning comes down and strikes and says, this has got to go. You need to start afresh because it was not built in my likeness. It was built in the material likeness. And I may have mentioned this, but for the sake of whoever comes across this video, I'm just going to refer to things and explain them. So if you've heard it multiple times, just look at it as a sign and a synchronicity, because who knows who's going to come across what video at one particular time, okay? So when it comes to the Adam and Eve story, okay? Nude in the garden, they had everything they needed and more. However, when that apple was bitten, they realized they were nude. They realized that, oh, well, let's leave the garden and create another world. And that world is the material world. Now, we do create heaven on earth, and the Most High wants us to have the best of the best, okay? That's something I had to realize, because I went through a phase of like, no materials, no nothing, none of that. And it's like, but you need things. You need those things as an energetic shift to usher in other things you want throughout life. That's what currency is. It's an energy. Okay? So with that, they were like, oh, well, let's go out into this material world. Like, now we want, we're not even interacting with people unless they make a certain amount. They drive a certain car, they wear certain clothes and cologne and all this jazz that makes no sense. But however, in the garden, nude in the garden, there wasn't a sense of looking at themselves as not being perfect and divine. And that's another issue we're faced with people not loving and accepting themselves for who they are. And therefore, they're having jealousy, hate, and envy start to stir up in their lives. And it's like, you have to heal from that, because there's not enough time to be dedicated to someone else's life versus you improving yours. Okay? So yeah, the divine bedroom, if I mentioned that. Yeah, divine bedroom. Your love making. Because you are able to manifest powerful things with your partner, with your ordained spouse. And so to allow someone to onlook, they are absorbing that energy. You can absorb energy through vision. Light is energy. You're absorbing light. That's how you're able to see, which is like going into remote sensing. So I'll stay on track because I'm also an environmental scientist as well as an intelligence professional. So, all the experience and also my world travels, it all is a part of my wisdom. So keep people out of that business. It's none of their business, okay? When people ask, I've gotten to a point where literally I tell people no, and it could be just the awkwardest situation. Like, I know the person that's been talking to me behind my back or doing things to halt my progression, and then they try to come around me and smile, and I'll literally just, hey, Sade, how you doing? No. And keep walking. No is a complete sentence. So I just I have to respond to people that way, because even that exchange of you having conversation is energy, and depending on the type of person, especially when you're dealing with narcissism, they're going to pick out something within that conversation and heighten it to the point where they're winning the argument and they can gaslight you. Let's tell these people no. It's literally, this journey is about you and how you connect to the Most High and your divine purpose, also your divine partner. That's what it's about. Your divine beings that you create, whether that be human beings or creative projects, okay? So this fly spirit, you'll start to see flies just randomly, a fly or flies randomly, and you can start to notice the behavior of the fly. Like, you can have no food around, nothing that's smelling in a way that would really attract the fly, but that fly is like trying to see what you're doing and what's going on. Like, say you're out creating something, building something, inventing, working on a vehicle, and a fly is coming around you and seemingly looking and what are you doing and flying around you. That is an indicator of a fly spirit. That someone in your energetic field or someone trying to tap into your energetic field is trying to pry into your internal affairs. Okay? Your monies, your relationships, your gifts. They're trying to figure it out. And a lot of times with fly spirits, it's either like the jealousy and envy. Sometimes it goes into mimicking. It can go into narcissism. It can go into all these different avenues in which they've used that information for whatever they need it for. You never really know what a person is using the information for. So I always caution people when they're having conversation to, you can converse with people, but pull back on giving so much of your energy and so much information, because once you build the picture, all conversations are pieces of puzzle. Think about that. Every little conversation is a puzzle piece. If you give a person enough of that puzzle piece, they can design a picture. And a lot of times that picture is incorrect. And that is a picture, also that incorrect picture they also paint for other people about you. So it's also important within dealing with a fly spirit is to build your aura, to build your personality, to build who you are as a person, your brand, and your image. So, and then another way to identify a fly spirit is sometimes the fly spirit, you might just be coming in contact with the fly spirit as an onlooker. An onlooker being you are hearing or seeing someone talk or do something behind someone's back, okay? And fly spirits want to communicate their anger and frustrations to anyone that would listen. And so you'll notice a person bringing up another person randomly or directly behind their back or in a fashion that just doesn't make sense. It's just like, we were talking about, wow, that blue car looks kind of cobalt blue, or is it like a deep blue? Like, what deep sea blue? Like, what color is it? And it's like, that girl such and such, or that guy such and such, be doing this, and then it's like, oh wow, you talk about people. And what the fly spirit also doesn't realize is that conversation and energy that they're given about a person, the onlooker is able to start to decipher, like, wow, this is your personality. You talk about people behind their back. Fly spirit. Okay. So, and that information usually is always like 100%, if not mostly, false or unfounded. Okay. They're threading together information, bits that may be true, or bits of information that are just about like just knowing their name or where they're from or what school they went to, using that information and bringing it together to paint another picture about the person. That's a fly spirit. Another way to identify a fly spirit is someone giving you absorbent amounts of praise. Listen, I hype my people up. let me get in that mode where I'm hyping people. I will go. But I also read a room. I read a person to say, okay, well, this might be too much, because it can go into too much. And then that's when you have to pull back, because it's like, people can become uncomfortable for certain reasons. You might be complimenting a person. It's like, oh yeah, I enjoy that compliment. But then when you're giving them too much, it's like, what is your game? Like, where are you going with this? When a person just randomly is giving you praise, and it seems so much to where it's like, what are you doing this for? It's random, it's uncalled for, it's absorbent, excessive. Absorb is like paper towel or absorbing water. Anyway, so I also wrote, let that energy stay there until and allow it to DIE out. I think YouTube flags that word, so let me just spell it out for you. No, hooked on phonics, the bouncing ball of the words. Let it stay there, and it will eventually DIE out. Okay. Shooing a fly away or being dismissive in certain fashions can increase the amount of conversation that is still had about you. And I also think about that when it comes to identifying the embodiment of fallen angels. You can identify that might be work of a fallen angel, but to acknowledge it in a way that the fallen angel knows you can only cause that energy to move into another space and time. So for me, I'm like, okay, I already identify what you are and how you operate. I'm just going to remove myself so that energy can stay there until you heal or whatever you need to do. But I'm not going to acknowledge it because it might hop over into another body that I'm not familiar with, and then I have to use my discernment, intuitive gifts, and experience to identify, is this a similar energy? Okay. So it's a cycle, okay? So with these individuals that move in this type of energy, this type of spirit, it's a cycle. It's like the snake eating its tail. That's our second animal in this conversation. The snake. Snake eating its own tail. So when you let it sit in DIE, you allow that energy to engulf its own self. Because it will. Because it's a self-sabotage. When you're out to sabotage another person, you're only sabotaging yourself, because you're blocking your gifts and your blessings from the Most High, because God don't like ugly. God does not like ugly. Does not. And y'all learn that from childhood, but you're still out here doing it. It's like you forget all your life lessons when you become an adult. And it's like, really? Really? Snake eating its own tail. Now, what you need to do, and this is to heal people that are operating in that fly spirit, because it happens. Like, I've had moments where I've been like, not jealousy or envy, but just been like, actually, I've never hated anybody. I've never really, because I've just been like, this is me. Now, mind you, there might have been some things that I want to change about myself, but I've never like looked to another person's experience and been like, I want to experience that. Except for the love department, and not necessarily wanting their relationship, but just like, oh, I want my man to embrace me like that. Oh, I want this to be like this. But not the specifics of I want that person or I want their relationship to split. Nothing like that. I don't have it in me. It's not my energy. It's not my heart. So I had to retract that. I was going to give an example, but I personally don't have an example. I've seen it throughout life, and other people have seen it, where an individual poses as a friend only to literally stab that person in the back. And that's why I've been encouraged to give you all this message, because for the ones that choose the light every time, I want you to be safe. Yes, we love. Yes, we nurture. Yes, we have a divine purpose here on the planet. But there's also entities and energies that are against that. So you need to be able to identify it early on so you can take action, okay? So you put those individuals outside of your protection, your boundaries. That's what boundaries are for. It could be simple as no. And at this point in my life, at first, I felt like, oh, give them another chance, or maybe this, or maybe that. No. A snake sheds its skin only to be a bigger snake, okay? Like a cheater, not and I'm not going to get into the specifics of everyone's everyone's situation. However, when it comes to cheating, it's not just, you don't just fall into someone's bed, it's premeditated. Like, yes, it can be lust, yes, it can be these things, but there are actions forward that happen. You're getting into your vehicle, you're driving over there, you're setting up a date and time where you can meet at a hotel, all these different things. So when a person tries to come back reformed, it's really just, hey, I've learned how you caught me, and so I want to come back, and this time I'm going to do it better. You're never going to catch me again, and I'm going to put on the most elaborate mask possible. That's what that happens there, okay? So a snake only sheds its skin to become a larger snake. And so that's how I believe and think about relationships. And so it's easier for me to disassociate myself. This experience is about me. It doesn't matter how we relate to one another, whether that's through blood, through relationships, through shared interests. If you are constantly, or just even, don't even have to be constant, if you are going against me in a way that is to throw dirt on my name, make me feel less than, go against anything that is godly, then I have to relieve myself. I have to move out of that energy, and you won't have access to me anymore. And so one of the things I'll do, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter what the conversation is or how I come across that person. I would just straight up say no. No is a complete sentence. No stops traffic. No stops that energy flow. If once you start give people too much conversation, you're giving them your energy. So they're still winning. They're still like, oh, I ruffled her feathers. Oh, I got her in a tiff with me. Onlookers are going to be looking like, oh, she's the combative one. No, just say no. Pull your energy in and go about your life, okay? Now, if this person is in a situation where they have influence over your day-to-day activities, you have to figure out what is necessary in that situation, okay? If that is your boss, is there a way for you to transfer to another location? Who's over that person as far as the chain of command goes? In what ways can you disassociate yourself physically where you have less contact with that individual? And implement that and stand firm in it. When you stand firm and you're not giving a whole bunch of conversation and explaining yourself as to why they're outside of your perimeter, then you give them less material to try to pick holes through. So if you get into a tiff with a person and you've set them outside of your boundaries, outside of your inner experience, going through and saying, well, I don't talk to you because you said this and you did this and you went here and blah, blah, blah. A person that is going to gaslight you, a person with narcissistic tendencies, jealousy, envy is going, and that wants an argument, because some don't really have enough to even do much with. But there are some that will look at it like, oh, I'm going to start an argument. I'm going to see how much energy I can get out of them. When that happens, you start to lose your footing in a defense type of stance. So give them a no or stop and go on about your business. So, yeah, let it stay there and it eventually die out. Okay. Let it stay there. Because that fly spirit is going to be talking to other people and stuff. And eventually those people aren't going to want to hear it. And eventually it just dissipates. Because it's unfounded, it's untrue. You know? So I do have the Magician card here, which I was going to talk about entering into a new cycle. Well, which I will talk about. So the snake eating its own tail is represented as a circle, going around doing the same thing every day, not improving, same thing. And eventually the snake engulfs and eats its own self. That's what happens when you let it die out. Just let it sit there. The way a person could eventually heal is to move into a new cycle. Choose better, do better. Always select the light. Always select the Most High. Always do things with good intent and interest. So when you move out of the cycle, you move into a new. What does that look like? A figure eight. And that's what we have here on the Magician card. Figure eight up top. The Magician has all of the necessary tools, all of the materials in the tarot card to create reality. It's represented as number 1 here. The 0 or the starting point is the Fool, taking a leap, not carrying much with you. Now the Magician has everything that's needed. It's like a restart and a rebirth of the things that are most important to manifest your reality. So that's the energy that usually, that's the energy that the people are in, to where the fly spirit is trying to see what's going on, because they're looped in the same cycle. And instead of using their energy to create anew, to enter into that infinite, they're stuck on you. So retract your energy, give them less information, don't give them that puzzle piece to paint a picture. Remove yourself. You don't have to interact with these people, be it friends, family, co-workers. You do not. This is your experience, and I want you to have the best experience, okay? So these little testimonies are from what I've experienced, and I'm expressing it to you because it's like, why not be partnered with that person and find out, well, if they're making more money or they're being more creative, like how are they getting there? Like, have those conversations, and not the conversation like a fly spirit, because the fly spirit is gonna be like, well, how much money you making, and how many days a week you got to do that, and no. A person that's genuinely interested would be like, I'm trying to make extra money. Do you have any ideas? I see that you're interested in information technology. What specific field? Because I'm not really sure which field I want to be in. And could you express to me what are the benefits of that field and why you're interested and why you like it? You'll start to notice those things, like how people ask questions, how people praise you just randomly, if it's genuine or not. And once you start to get those intuitive internal nudges, it's going to be in mostly the belly, the gut. When you get those nudges, take heed and take warning, because we're in this physical body to feel and to detect things for a reason. Okay? So I hope you found this video helpful. It's a little longer than videos that I usually make, but I was on a roll. So I'm probably going to make it into a short as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. Fly spirit, also the snake, is the topic of discussion today. I hope that you maneuver through your life understanding that there will be a bit of strife and struggle, but as long as you center yourself and you create firm boundaries, you will be able to enjoy this experience a lot better. So, I'll holla.